Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to my Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba read-through. We are going to be reading through chapters 161 through 169, which makes up volume 19 of the series. Oh, I am excited to read through this for you guys. Last we left off in chapter 160, Inosuke finds out that it was his mother that dropped him off the cliff when he was younger. But it was also Doma, the current second ranker. Yes, current second ranker that was the one who killed his mother. And now Inosuke not only has a chance to avenge Shinobu, but he also has a chance to avenge his own birth mother as well. And he says it's a miracle that he managed to come across the very demon that caused him all this strife. So, let's go ahead and get started with chapter 161. Chapter 161, Flapping Butterfly Wings. And here's Doma speaking. For someone raised by wild boars, you're well spoken, but it seems you are mistaken. Heaven and hell do not exist in this world. Those things don't exist at all. They're made up. Just human conscience. Just human conscience. Yeah, just human conscience. Do you know why? The reality is that even those who live upright and good lives meet with misfortune, while the wicked act as they please. They enjoy themselves and live life to the fullest. The idea of divine punishment is a joke. Wicked people going to hell after death? If humans didn't think like that, people with weak spirits couldn't keep going, right? I deeply believe that humans are pathetic. And then Inosuke screams out, If hell doesn't exist, I'll create it for you. That's enough of your crap. Don't say my mother was unhappy, you jerk! And as Inosuke runs up on Doma, Doma uses freezing clouds in Inosuke's direction. Then Inosuke uses beast breathing, 10th fang, whirling fangs. And he spins his swords in order to keep the clouds from actually touching him. Now, mind you, Inosuke's swords don't have any holds on them or loops on them that allows him to spin them at this speed. He's just literally spinning them in his hands at high speeds. Anime and manga characters are crazy when they do simplistic stuff like this. Well, I say simplistic, but just using their hands in order to achieve this is crazy. That's why I love it so much. Well, this is fun. If I could, I'd play with you like this until I got tired of it. And then it shows Kanao launching at Doma from behind. And he says, whoops. And then Kanao uses flower breathing. And Doma blocks her sword with one of his fans. And immediately knocks her back into the pond that they're fighting above. Then Inosuke runs where Doma was, and Doma just disappears from sight. Kanao gets out of the pond, coughing, and then Inosuke says, Come down here, you! Yeah! Are you scared? Yeah! And then Doma says, Sorry, Lord Akaza fell in battle and we're out of time, so I'll have you fight this child of mine. And he makes a ice version of himself. He makes a small ice version of himself. Crystalline divine child. And then Kanao sees this and she thinks, An ice doll? What? And then the ice doll falls and it lands on its feet on the deck above the pond. And then it looks at Inosuke and Inosuke says, Ha ha ha! What's with this peewee? And then the ice doll uses Blood Demon Art, Scattering Lotuses, and immediately attacks both Kanao and Inosuke with a massive attack. And they both start defending themselves. Such power! This one can use techniques almost as powerful as mine. The rest is up to him. And then Doma just starts walking away. And then Inosuke says, Wait, you! Don't run! And then Kanao says, Inosuke! As the doll is point blank in Inosuke's face and tries to use Frozen Lotus on him. Get out of my way! And Doma thinks, that boy never inhales my blood demon art either. I wonder why. And the ice doll continues to use all of Doma's previously showcased techniques, such as cold white princesses, in an attempt to hit Inosuke. What's this? Are you stupid? Are you gonna freeze everything? Give me a break! And then Doma thinks, I see. It appears he has sharply sensitive skin. He immediately senses the slightest chill in the air. Nice. I've never met such a swordsman. I'll remember this. This is valuable knowledge. I'll have him show all his techniques before I kill him. That'll aid me in future fights. And the ice doll continues to use Doma's previous techniques, such as lotus vines, as Kanao defends herself, thinking, the vines are pushing us back, and Doma is getting away. We've got to hang in a little longer, a little more. We've got to do something to keep him here. A little longer. And then Doma says, yes, it might be faster to create about 5 more of these, and have them defeat the demon slayers who entered the castle. Yeah, I'll do that. If I play around too much, Muzan will scold me, so... Then all of a sudden, I guess he puts his hand, hides his hand in his fan, and creates another... No, he puts his fans together, and then brings them up, and that creates another ice doll. And that ice doll uses blood demon art wintry circles. And those are the ones that shoot out the ice shards, and they immediately start homing in on Kanao. Then we have Inosuke saying, ugh, no, he can do that? Even the attacks from the duplicates are pressing us hard. I can't get close. If I don't hurry, he'll get away. Darn it! And it keeps showing the ice dolls using the techniques. And it shows the ice doll that was using the lotus vines manages to hit Inosuke across his arms and slashes him. Inosuke! Don't panic! Calm down! Just a bit more! Hang in there! And it shows the ice doll also using the same ice doll using the wintry vines going up against Kanao. And Doma is thinking, just a bit. Oh well, the divine children will record the battle. Then it shows Doma opening up the doors that he's about to leave through. And all of a sudden, his vision is obscured as what just happened? His face just starts peeling. His eye literally comes out of his socket. Like this left side of his face is peeling. His skin is falling off. Huh? What happened? And then Kanao says, this is it. This is it. Is my face melting? And then it shows Doma falling towards the ground as his face literally starts to fall off. And then it shows an image of Shinobu smiling, like in the dark, in one panel, as it shows Doma starting to sweat. Yo! Shinobu! Yo! Okay, now. That's the end of chapter 161. Onwards to chapter 162 so we can find out what happened. Okay, so this is Shinobu speaking to Kanao, saying, if we encounter the upper rank 2 demon who killed our older sister, you and I will fight it. But the first condition is that I have to get eaten by the demon and die. Yo, Shinobu intended for Doma to eat her? Yo, she planned this from the start! Ooh-hoo-hoo! Yo, Shinobu! Chapter 162, Trio of Victory. And then Kanao responds to this to Shinobu because this is before the whole events of Muzan coming to try and kill Ubuyashiki. And Kanao says, why? If we fight together, I'm sure we can win. And then Shinobu says, you need to throw away such soft thinking right here and now. At the very least, the power of an upper-ranked demon is comparable to 3 Hashira. However, According to information from our sister, this demon is a glutton with an abnormal obsession with eating women. I am surprised that I managed to get through that whole sentence without fumbling a single word. I like it when I don't mess up words for you guys. He'll certainly eat a Hashira with high physical abilities and an excellent body, especially if it's a woman. And then Kanao starts sweating, and she thinks, no. And then Shinobu continues, at present I have a high concentration of wisteria flower poison circulating through my blood and internal organs, even down to the tips of my fingernails. Wow! So, she literally, her entire body, blood and internal organs, even down to her fingertips, is just coursing with wisteria. Yo, Doma messed up. He messed up. You thought, oh, I gotta read more. Oh, I'm excited. Then Kanao says, then I'll do it too. And then Shinobu says, impossible. For one thing, there is no time. It takes over a year to reach this state. You must continuously take in the wisteria flower poison. What's more, I am the first to attempt this. I have no idea what side effects will arise, or whether this will work on an upper-ranked demon or even Kibutsuji. At most, I can deliver 50 milligrams of poison in one blow with my sword. However, if the demon eats me as I am now, the dose of poison he will receive will be the 37 kilograms throughout my body, which is about 70 times the lethal amount. Wow! So, hold on. 50 milligrams is the amount of poison that is in one blow from her sword. But she has 37 kilograms in her body. 70 times the dose! His body is reacting to it. His body cannot withstand it, as she says, which is about 70 times the lethal amount. And it shows Doma in the present day falling to the ground as he tries to brace himself with his hand, but his body is literally breaking down at the molecular level. At the cellular level. That's a better way to put it. His body is breaking down at the cellular level, because even the arm he tried to use to brace himself and prop himself up, that just straight up comes off. Like meat off the bone, steak type off. And he just falls over. My bones are melting. Is it poison? It's that girl's poison, but I didn't sense anything. Regenerate, heal. And as his body is slowly breaking apart, his ice stalls that he had sent out, they start faltering, and they start cracking, and they shatter. Shinobu gets the last laugh. And Inosuke sees this and thinks, what? They're suddenly disappeared? Is it a trap or something? And then Kanao says, no, it's Shinobu's poison. Inosuke, aim for his neck. Press him out. Press him all at once. And then Shinobu's, it cuts back to when Shinobu's speaking to Kanao saying, however, there is no guarantee that the poison will kill an upper-ranked demon. At least Master Ubuyashiki believes it is impossible. So, in order to increase the probability of my revenge, he encouraged me to do cooperative research with demons. Supposing the poison actually did begin to work, do not let your guard down. Beheading him is the only way to be sure. I will not fail to weaken the demon, so you must cut off his head and finish him. And then it cuts back to the present with Kanao thinking, I understand. It's all right. Don't worry. I'll take his head. I will not fail to do this. I won't let Shinobu's sacrifice be in vain. I messed that up massively. My apologies. And then it shows Doma doing his best to get up as Inosuke and Kanao bear down on him, with Inosuke saying, die, you rotten jerk! And then Doma grabs his fan in his hands and uses Blood Demon Art. Rhyme Water Lily Bodhisattva! So, he causes a giant, pretty much a giant Buddha-like Bodhisattva to appear made out of completely out of ice, covered in flowers, with him huddled in one flower in order to jump away from Inosuke and Kanao. And it's massive, and it breaks the doors and the wall that he creates it in. And this surprises both Kanao and Inosuke, and the Bodhisattva is able to actually move. It's not just a statue, it can actually move, as it brings one of its hands down where Inosuke and Kanao are, shattering the platform that they're standing on, as well as, upheaving a massive amount of water. And Inosuke and Kanao get tossed aside. And then Kanao thinks, such a massive technique at this point. I'm surprised he has this much strength remaining. The freezing air fills a broad area, but to fall back would allow Doma time to recover. But if we breathe it, we'll be unable to fight, even though Shinobu warned me on the verge of death. No. Look closely. Look closely at this technique. It's rough. It clearly lacks precision. It's a technique of desperation, a last-ditch effort. It is time for me to use that. And the word that is in bold. And then we cut back to Shinobu speaking to Kanao back in the past again. If you use that technique, Kanao, you may go blind. Eyeballs are very delicate. The nerves and blood vessels are extremely thin. I know, as a person who has been in a car accident, eyes are extremely sensitive. It is incredibly dangerous to place an excessive burden on them. And then Kanao thinks to herself, why did you say that? You were preparing to sacrifice your own life, so why would you worry about my vision? See, she was such a kind person. So precious. I wanted to protect her. I wanted to risk my life for her. I wanted to go home together. And then it shows Kanao, I guess, using her breathing and focusing in her eyes with a move called Flower Breathing Final Form. Equinoctial Vermilion Eye! I think I really hope I said equinoctials right. Equinoctial Vermilion Eye! And her eyes, like the sclera of her eyes, go dark, while the other colors of her eyes change color as well. Then it shows the Bodhisattva bearing his hands down. He's not as fast as Netaro's 100 type Guan Yin Bodhisattva from Hunter x Hunter, but she is able to see the hand movements of it. Because apparently it also has Inosuke in its grip as well. But then she thinks to herself, raising dynamic vision to the utmost makes surrounding movements look dull and slow. The pressure on my eyes causes bleeding that stains them red. Also, her eyes are immediately bleeding from putting that much pressure on her. That's the reason why they changed color. So it wasn't black, it's red. And she dodges the blow from the Bodhisattva and bears down right on Doma, preparing to bring her sword on his neck. But since she's in the path of the face of the Bodhisattva statue blows freezing breath on her. As she thinks to herself, go, do it! There's no way I can't cut through this thoroughly rotten neck. My arm is stiffening. Then it shows Inosuke screaming out loud, ah! Beast breathing! Sudden throwing strike! And using all of his strength, he throws both of his swords in a buzzsaw-like motion as both of them bear down on Doma, as all of their swords bear down on his neck. Apparently, the blades move with enough inertia to actually drive Kanao's sword faster, as Doma thinks, his blades are pushing hers in. And the moment he finishes that sentence, with the extra help from Inosuke, Kanao delivers the final blow to Doma, cutting off his head in one swift stroke. And that is the end of chapter 162. Now there's only one more upper ranker left, and that is the number 1. I'm scared. The number 2 demon has been eradicated. And now we continue with onwards to chapter 163, Overflowing Heart. Huh? She cut off my head. I can't believe that I'd lose to a nobody like her. To a poisoner. Someone who's not even a swordsman. She doesn't even seem strong enough to take off anyone's head. She seems like she hasn't even mastered the basics of swordplay. If this is what destroys me, I really am pathetic. I dedicated myself to people and made contributions to the world. Oh, right. I still don't know. I mustn't give up. I might not die. Like Lord Muzan, Lord Akaza also almost did it. I'm sure I can. And then, as he thinks, his head just falls to a plank and starts to crumble away. Not only is it rotting, but it's also crumbling from the fact that his head's been severed by a Nichiren sword. Oh, my body is falling apart. I'm finished. I'm going to die. And then he doesn't say anything in one panel and thinks, I knew it. I'm a goner. I don't feel anything. I'm not afraid of dying, and I'm not frustrated that I lost. I've always been this way. And now we get his backstory a little bit. My father was a lecher who dallied with female cult followers one after another, and my mother stabbed him to death. There is so much death in this series. You would think I'd be used to it by now with all the other anime and manga that I read. You would think. And even when she went crazy and killed herself with poison. I'm sorry, I have the mic too close. Forgive me. And even when she went crazy and killed herself with poison, I just wish she wouldn't mess up the room. I still wasn't a demon back then, so the smell of blood was awful to me. I wanted to air out that room immediately. I could only think of things like that. Not for a moment did I feel sad or lonely. At age 20, I became a demon, and I've lived over 100 years, but in the end, human emotions are nothing to me, like mere dreams. And then it shows Shinobu staring directly into Doma's face. I guess this is her in the afterlife. And then Shinobu says, "Oh, did you finally die? Good. Now I too can rest in peace." Ah, you're Shinobu, right? Or Kanae? And as he's having this conversation, it's still just his severed head. It's just his head. He doesn't have his body in this realm right now. He just has a head. And Shinobu says, "Oh, that's all right. You don't have to remember. My big sister or me. You make me sick, so don't say my name. That poison was..." And then Doma says, "That poison was incredibly powerful. I didn't even notice until it circulated all through me." And then Shinobu says, "Yeah, I suppose you wouldn't have. A demon called Tamayo helped us make it." Yo, it was Tamayo! Tamayo? Oh, her? "But it's frustrating. Very much so. If possible, I wanted to put you in the ground with the poison I made myself. Still, I'm satisfied. The results are perfect. The founder of the demons still remains, but I'm sure it'll be fine now. One of my comrades is sure to finish this. I'm certain of it." And then Doma still doesn't say anything, and he says, "Whoa. What is this? What is it?" And then Shinobu says, "What's wrong?" And then Doma says, "I don't have a heart anymore, but I feel like it's beating. Is this what people call love? You're cute, Shinobu." And then Shinobu doesn't say anything. "This feeling really exists, huh? So do heaven and hell also exist? Hey, Shinobu, hey, wanna go to hell together with me?" And then Shinobu says, "After you, you worthless jerk." And then it shows the present day. It shows the present as Inosuke stomps on what remains of Doma's head, saying, "Take that! That jerk was all talk! We finished him off! Victory is ours!" And then he falls back and he starts to get an aneurysm again, saying, "But I don't have a mother. It's thinking back to when he was talking to Tanjiro. Everyone has a mother. Then I'm an abandoned child. My mother didn't need me. And then it shows Zenitsu there along with Tanjiro. And I guess one of them is saying there must have been unavoidable circumstances. If you're really an abandoned child, they don't put your name on your baby clothes like what happened to me. Oh wait, this is Inosuke saying this. There must have been unavoidable circumstances. If you're really an abandoned child, they don't put your name on your baby clothes like what happened to me. I don't remember my mother. If I don't remember, it's the same as not having one. And then he remembers Tanjiro saying, "Don't talk like that, Inosuke. I bet your mother loved you very much." And then, as he remembers all this, he sits up and actually thinks of his mother, and it just fills him with tears. Mother. Then it shows Kanao. A pin. A hairpin. Shinobu's hairpin. I can barely see with my right eye. I managed to get by because I only used it for a short time. Kanae's hairpin broke too. I'm sorry, Kanae. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I couldn't cry for you. When Kanae died, I'm sorry I couldn't cry. Everyone else was crying, but I didn't. I was very upset. I was sweating all over but didn't shed any tears. But no one criticized me. Everyone was kind to me. That's why I made so many excuses to fill my heart. If we cried, people would have kicked us and dragged us around and tried to drown us. Several of my brothers weren't careful enough and got hit in a bad place and were dead by the next morning. Wow, so this is the history of Kanao living with all those horrible people. Mistreating kids? Ugh, that is horrible. So I never cried. I suddenly couldn't cry, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kanae. But this time I did it properly, right? I did it well, right? I valued my comrades like you said, and they helped me. It would have been impossible alone, but one of them came to help. And then she looks down and notices, oh. And then it shows the butterfly pin of Shinobu. And then the thought of both Kanae and Shinobu patting on her on the head saying, you did well, Kanao. You know, consoling her in this moment. Then she looks up, no one's there, and she clutches the pins. She thinks of Kanae and Shinobu as they're holding hands, enjoying themselves, running through a forest full of wisteria flowers. Dad! Mom! And as it shows Kanae and Shinobu hugging their mother and father, it shows Kanao still holding those pins and actually crying. It's okay to cry. That's the end of chapter 163. Onwards to chapter 164. Chapter 164 just overdid it a little. And then we have Tanjiro. I smell something burning. Let me sleep a little longer. But it really does smell like something's burning. A fire! And then he wakes up and he sees Giyu Tomioka holding his sword over a flame. Ah! What happened? Did you chip your sword? And then Giyu says, I tried to stop my bleeding, but it's not working, so I'm going to cauterize the wound. Huh? You tried to stop the bleeding of the wound in your left arm. But if it doesn't stop, I'll burn it, so strip down and come here. Yeah. Is the bone all right? Yes, it's just a bruise. And then, beware of an enemy, beware of an enemy attack. Okay! I think you know, but this fight is just beginning. Our final target is Muzan. But next we may have to fight upper ranks 1 and 2. Right! I'll stay focused! And then the crow comes in just to let him know. Ah! Shinobu, Kanao, Inosuke, these 3 defeated upper rank 2! Defeated! And this surprises Tanjiro. Are Inosuke and Kano all right? Basically! Wow, this is incredible. We're each scoring victories. We're getting closer to Muzan. Then it shows Mitsuri, who is there with Iguro, the snake Hashira, as they spot the Biwa woman with the giant eye. Wow, I was wrong. There's still some upper rankers in there. It's still the woman there. So 3 and 2 are down, Akaza and Doma, but 4 and 1 are still there. Those are the only ones left. So Mitsuri and Iguro apparently are going to be the ones facing off against this Biwa player who can shift the infinity castle that they're in. I found her, Iguro! Over there! It's upper rank 4! And then Iguro thinks, upper rank 4? I thought Tokito and the others had defeated her. A replacement already? Shinobu was younger than me, but she risked her life and did her best. So I too have to do my best. And it shows Mitsuri bracing herself on an adjacent wall with her sword ready, and she launches, upside down, mind you, towards the upper rank 4. And the Biwa player sees her, looks forward, strums her shamisen, and it shifts the location. It causes a door to pop up. No, it doesn't shift her location. It causes a door to pop up to protect her, which Mitsuri bounces off of. Huh? And then she starts falling. After hitting the door, she starts falling and her nose starts bleeding a little bit. This is embarrassing. I got hasty and overdid it. What am I doing? Then then it shows Iguro jumping up, and I guess he caught her, saying, Kanroji, as long as we don't know our opponent's abilities, let's watch closely, think hard, and proceed calmly. And then Mitsuri says, okay. And then, as they say that, doors appear underneath them and causes them to fall a little bit. But Mitsuri grabs onto a ledge, props herself up, and Iguro catches himself. And they both keep from falling into the doors. And no matter where they step, more doors open up in an attempt to get them to fall, but they immediately jump away from it. Iguro jumps in one direction as a door proceeds to try and crush him. This upper rank 4 is literally using her ability to cause the Infinity Castle to shift in any shape possible, but it's always like box-like or rectangular-like shapes. She's causing different sections to try and attack them without even moving from where she is. But it's also slowly separating Mitsuri and Iguro as well. Iguro! And then all of a sudden, Mitsuri is thrusted upwards as a platform starts to launch her towards the roof. Ah! It's gonna crush me! And then using her strength, since it's moving at such high speed, she uses all of her strength to slash into the pillar she's in, with just enough time to avoid getting crushed into the ceiling. I get it. She can move the building as if it were her own hands and feet. That's a little surprising, but okay. And then she jumps off and launches herself towards this upper rank 4. And she says, prepare yourself! And as the upper rank 4, because I've already forgotten her name, it's unfortunate, but I forgot her name. As the upper rank 4 strums her instrument, Mitsuri says, you won't hit me with the same attack again! And she jumps over the same door used to, knock her backwards, and she tries to hit the player, but the upper rank 4 opens a door and she immediately goes sailing into it, and she gets plopped out of a platform away from her, and she has like that pouty face, like, And she's sent falling into the Infinity Castle screaming, ah! But it shows Iguro is right there next to the rank 4, preparing to bring his sword down on her neck, about to use his serpent breathing second form, Venom Fangs of the Narrowhead. And she strums again, and Iguro is, pushed back just a little bit as the platform the upper rank 4 is on is sent raising higher into the air. Her blood demon art isn't that deadly, but it's really annoying. This could be a long and troublesome fight.
I fell really far,
says Mitsuri. And then it shows Gyome along with Muichiro.
Kibutsuji's nearby. Don't let your...
Oh, wait, this is Gyome saying this. Kibutsuji's nearby. Don't let your guard down. Okay, says Muichiro. And then, as they're moving, the Infinity Castle moves again, and a section of it knocks Tokito away from Gyome. But before Gyome can even say Tokito, a platform blindsides Muichiro to the side and knocks him away. Tokito! Never mind me. Go! Then he sees that he's being pushed into a wall in an attempt to crush him. And either he fell through the floor or he was actually pushed through the wall because he falls into a room with pillars in it. And it kind of looks like the room that the number 1 was in when he found out that Akaza died and he slashed through all the pillars in there. Oh, it is. It is him. Tokito is in the room with the upper rank 1. And the upper rank 1 says, "You came, Demon Slayer. You, for some reason, you seem familiar." And then Tokito is standing there sweating, thinking, upper rank 1. And that is the end of chapter 164. Onwards to chapter 165. Chapter 165, Stunned and Trembling. And the thing about the upper rank 1 is he has multiple eyes. He has 3 sets of eyes. 2 of them have his number, while the other ones are just normal demon eyes. And apparently he's able to see through Muichiro? Like he can see his bones and he can see his muscles? I knew it. I see. And then it just shows Tokito's heart beating. This is upper rank 1. He can't be compared to any of the other upper ranks. He's profound, majestic even. And his sword is distorted, but he has a katana. Perhaps he was a demon slayer? And a considerably skilled one at that. And he tries to grab onto his sword, but he's shaking. I can't stop shaking. My body doesn't want to fight. This is the first time this has ever happened to me. And in this panel, as he says this, there's this aura, this massive aura is coming off of the upper rank 1 right now. And then the upper ranker speaks. Your name. What is it? Muichiro Tokito. I see. Well, the Sugikuni name must have died out. Sugikuni? What's that? It has been centuries, but so it was inevitable. My name, when I was human, was Michikatsu Sugikuni. You are a descendant of the child that I left behind in the Sugikuni family. In other words, you are my descendant. Wow! What? Muichiro! You're a descendant of the upper ranker? Of the number 1? This is like number 1 finding out his dad was number 0. Descendant? Me? Of his? No way. I can't believe it. So was he a swordsman of the first breathing? Got to stay calm. Don't panic. It doesn't matter. Stay calm. And then he calms down. And then The upper rank 1, I forget his demon name that he's taken on to himself. But I'll just call him Michikatsu until he says his name otherwise. But Michikatsu says, your spiritual strength seems excellent. In a mere moment, you quelled your agitation. Now, mind you, I'm not speaking in pauses because I'm trying to pace myself. He's speaking with pauses in his own sentences. And then it shows Muichiro directly in front of Michikatsu, trying to use mist breathing, second form, 8-layered mist. And then Michikatsu is just behind him saying, pretty good move. Mist, eh? I see. Not bad. Then Muichiro uses fifth form, Sea of Clouds and Haze. And wherever Muichiro tries to strike at, Michikatsu is in the opposite direction, as if he just teleports. Then Michikatsu speaks again. Muichiro, are you about 14 years old? Such developed swordsmanship for one so young. You quailed before me, but had the courage to suppress it and attack. Indeed, you are of my blood. He's not really speaking in pauses anymore. I suppose that bloodline has dwindled. No matter. Even if the name died out, my cells proliferated. And then Muichiro says, are you kidding me? Even if I am your descendant, after hundreds of years, there isn't a single drop of your blood left in me. That mark, I see. It has appeared. And as because he's noticing that Muichiro's own hunter's mark has started to appear on his face, as there's one present on Michikatsu's face as well, but it's just like permanently there. It is yet to move. And then Muichiro uses mist breathing, seventh form, obscuring clouds. And then Michikatsu thinks, I've never seen that technique before. Users of mist breathing didn't use techniques like this. And as he thinks this, Muichiro tries to bring his sword on the neck of Michikatsu. But Michikatsu is just straight up gone. Such unique speed fluctuations. It's hard to read his movements. The technique is confusing. A truly good technique. Elegant and beautiful. I wonder if Muichiro developed that technique himself. If I do not also draw my sword, it would be poor etiquette. Moon breathing. First form. Dark moon. Evening palace. And in one swift motion, with one hand, he cuts off Muichiro's left hand. And then Muichiro thinks, moon? Breathing? Is it possible to use swordsmanship with breathing after becoming a demon? His speed is phenomenal. And moving at high speeds, he turns his left sleeve into a tunic in order to keep his arm from bleeding out. And he prepares to fight with just one hand now. And he launches at Michikatsu. Incredible. Oh wait, this is Michikatsu saying this. Incredible. He lost his hand, but immediately stopped the bleeding. And he has the pluck to then attempt a further attack. Misbreathing, shifting, flow slash. And he tries to slash at Michikatsu. But Michikatsu takes the sword from him in one swift motion and impales Muichiro through the shoulder, his right shoulder, mind you, onto one of the pillars that's in the room that Michikatsu is in. And just pins him there. He just pins Muichiro using his own sword to this pillar. My descendant, I will have his lordship use you as a demon. And that is the end of chapter 165, onwards to chapter 166. Chapter 166, True Feelings. The fact that you're my descendant. Sorry, I had to swallow there. The fact that you're my descendant is surprising and deeply moving to me. Yes, there is nothing to fear. As for your arm, if you become a demon, you will grow a new one. I am now the only upper-ranked demon capable of fighting effectively. I'm sure his lordship will approve of you. I will stop your bleeding. Humans are so fragile. However, if you bleed to death, or his lordship doesn't approve of you, and you die. And as he's saying this, Genya is there. However, if you bleed to death, or his lordship doesn't approve of you, and you die, then death was always your fate. In that case, you were no greater a man than that. And after he says that, Genya aims his gun at Michikatsu and attempts to shoot him, but Michikatsu is behind him. And he says, "Don't you agree?" He literally was asking this question. He's literally asking this question to Genya in an instant. And as Genya starts sweating bullets, there's a slash. And Michikatsu has cut off Genya's left arm that was holding his sawed-off shotgun. Genya! And as Muichiro tries his best to pry himself from the pillar, Genya tries to aim at Michikatsu, but Michikatsu just cuts off his other arm. And Genya just screams out in pain. I see. You're the one who's been eating demons, huh? And he proceeds to then just bisect, which is the method of cutting a person in half horizontally. He bisects Genya and just leaves him there. Not only did he cut him straight through the middle, but I think he also cut off his legs too. I'm trying to look at this. No. He just cut him straight through the middle. He just cut Genya down straight through the middle. He took off both of Genya's arms and then cut him straight through the waist. Like severed him. And this surprises Muichiro. I can't pull it out. I can't pull it out! As he's trying to get the sword that's embedding him in this pillar, he can do nothing but watch as Michikatsu just cuts down Genya. You're still not dead, even after I cut you in half. Over 300 years ago, there was a swordsman who ate demons just like you. Cutting him in half killed him. But in your case, do I need to cut your head off? And Genya just starts to completely sweat bullets. Then Michikatsu says, there is no reason to allow an imitation demon like you to live. And he draws his sword, and Genya thinks, Krull, I gotta reattach my arm. Come on! And then we see the slash from his moon breathing go across Genya. And Shinazugawa Sanmei comes in and saves his younger brother with wind breathing, fourth form, rising dust storm. And then Michikatsu immediately jumps away from this massive attack. The wind, Hashira. That's right. And that wind is going to wrench off your head. Not Sanmei, Sanemi. Sanemi. You really are hopeless, little brother. Why do you think I went so far as to... Why do you think I went so far as to kill our mother? To protect you? And then it shows a moment where Genya was speaking to Tanjiro, with Tanjiro saying, "About your big brother, the Wind Hashira. Genya, he was outraged that you joined the Demon Slayer Corps, but he doesn't have the faintest whiff of hate for you. So do not be afraid. If you have something to say, it's all right to say it. Sanemi. Sanemi loves you as much as ever. You should have had a house somewhere and raised a family and grown old. To make up for what I couldn't do for Mother and our little brothers and little sister. You should have had a wife and children and made them happy. And I would have never let a demon near you." So, all this time, Sanemi may have been treating his brother like absolute trash, but he cared about his brother more than anyone. Kind of reminds me of the whole Itachi and Sasuke dynamic. Even after joining the Akatsuki, he still watched out for Sasuke. "I'm sorry, Sanemi. I'm sorry." Brothers and demon slayers. That brings back memories. "How dare you cut up my little brother, you multi-eyed freak! I'll never forgive you! Never!" And then it shows Sanemi preparing to fight Michikatsu. And Michikatsu tries to use moon breathing, but Sanemi dodges under, slides under, and aims for his leg. He's sliding between his legs and he aims for Michikatsu's ankle. Michikatsu jumps out of the way, but Sanemi comes back with first form, Dust Whirlwind Cutter, and sends a massive tunnel of slashing air in like a tunnel-like fashion going towards Michikatsu. And he continues to clash with Michikatsu. He's drawn his sword. "Ah, that is one disgusting sword. Whoa!" And apparently, the sword of Michikatsu is not just a sword, but it's also covered in eyes. Even the hilt has eyes all over it. That's the end of chapter 166, onwards to chapter 167. Chapter 167, a request. And as they clash, Michikatsu uses moon breathing, fifth form. Moon Spirit Calamitous Eddy. And it shows a massive swirl of slashes with like moon. The thing whenever Michikatsu attacks, it turns into his slashes are accompanied by crescent moon shapes. And in this motion, he cuts through multiple pillars in a massive area around him. And the thing is, when he slashes, it's not actual swings he's doing, because Sanemi says, wow, I got hiccups there. You slash without swinging. And then he starts to clash with Michikatsu again. Wind breathing, third form, clear storm wind tree. Well done. Your physical techniques are at their peak as well. My skin is still crawling. This guy's techniques. He makes an irregular and complex array of blades spring out from a single slashing attack. Their length and size always change, so they don't have fixed forms. No wonder he defeated Tokito. The shape of the attacks I thought I dodged aren't the same. They're distorted. I had to deepen up his voice because Genya has a less gruff voice that I have for Sanemi. I couldn't survive if my sentence had been honed from long experience. And his speed. And it shows him, and it shows the upper ranker staring at Sanemi with all 6 of his eyes, and he's also breathing as well. And he uses breathing. A demon with abnormally high regenerative abilities and physical strength is using breathing to further increase his speed and striking power. Interesting. You're a demon worth killing. Wind breathing, second form. Claws purifying wind. And in a downward motion, he sends like claw-shaped like slashes, vertical slashes in the direction of Michikatsu. And Michikatsu, who catches these in his sword, slashes them away from him. As it shows, Sanami bearing down on Michikatsu, and they clash once again. Then all of a sudden, a sword appears under the chin of Michikatsu. And apparently it's because Sanami has gripped one of the other another sword in his hands. It was probably Genya's sword, in his feet. He's gripping it with his feet, and he tried to stab Michikatsu from underneath. Like, dude's got some serious toe strength. That's some serious foot strength. My sword, says Genya as he looks at this happening, and then Michikatsu continues to clash with Sanami. And there's a brief moment where they start to swing towards one another, and they still continue to clash. Still, he keeps up with my techniques. This feeling is so nostalgic, it makes me want to try harder. And it shows Shinazugawa still going up against Michikatsu, as they're both kind of on par with one another. No matter what Michikatsu comes up with, Sanami keeps, responding to it. That's why this fight has been going on for so long. But Sanami is starting to bleed from his nose. Shinazugawa! Sanami! I can't blink. One mistake in the angle of the tip of my sword and I'm dead. And then Michikatsu continues speaking. Long ago, when the whole country was at war, like this, yes, against the wind Hashira as well, I improved my sword technique. Moon breathing, 6th form, perpetual night, lonely moon incessant. And he uses another slashing move, but it actually hits Sanami this time. It hits him in multiple places, and it destroys all adjacent towers that were around them in multiple hit locations. Sanami! What happened? What's happening? Where are they? I can't see because of the pillars and lattice walls. And then it shows Sanami's foot, as blood drips from one of his wounds as he's huffing and puffing. And it shows multiple cuts across his entire body. You persisted for quite some time, but this is the end. If you move, your entrails will spill out. Then, all of a sudden, Michikatsu's heart starts beating. My pulse is quickening. What's happening? And then Sanami starts laughing. Catnip for cats and Morechi for demons. And then he slashes at Michikatsu again. And apparently Michikatsu has a misstep as he looks down. And then Sanami says, Hey, what's wrong? You look a little shaky. Looks like this blood works on upper ranks too. The smell of my blood intoxicates demons. Even for Morechi, it's rare blood. Taste it in full. Wait, so way back when they was inside of that demon house, and that one demon that had like the drums searching for those little kids, especially the younger brother who had that blood of the Morechi in it, saying how it's sought after, but it's a rare blood type, and demons consider it a delicacy? Shinazugawa has that in him too, and it's affecting Michikatsu. Okay. That's the end of chapter 167. Onwards to chapter 168. We are almost done, everybody. Chapter 168, Never Disappear. Soon after I began hunting demons, I noticed my blood was special. My mother had been turned into a demon, and she started moving more slowly when I started bleeding. After I killed her, all the colors in the world rapidly became worn and faded. I wandered the night in desperation. I didn't even know of the existence of the Demon Slayer Corps or of Nichiren swords. I armed myself with a mountain of blades, fought demons, caught them, and burned them to death in sunlight. If I think about it, it was like trying to commit suicide, but I didn't die, only because I was lucky that my blood could intoxicate demons. I met a member of the Demon Slayer Corps who was also pursuing demons. His name was Masachika Kumeno, and he introduced me to a trainer. But I know how unfair the world is because good people die one after another. Masachika and I defeated a lower rank 1 together, but only I became a Hashira. And then we cut back to the present as he slashes towards Michikatsu. Wind breathing, 6th form, black wind mountain mist. In a uppercut-like motion in an attempt to get him. This boy is still moving despite his wounds. Against the Hashira I've encountered so far, this contest would already be over. However, he stopped the bleeding himself. Is he coagulating his blood? With breathing? Is he flexing his muscles to stop his guts from spilling out? Either way, it is not something a human should be able to do. I've never seen it before. Interesting. And then Michikatsu slightly staggers as Sanemi bears down on him, and they continue their swordplay over and over and over again. How long has it been since I experienced this feeling of slight drunkenness? It's pleasant. It's Marechi, after all. And as Sanemi attempts to slash at Michikatsu, he dodges one of these slashes and steps on Sanemi's sword and proceeds to stomp it into the ground, and also prepared to bring his sword down on Sanemi, who's still holding on to his sword. And as it appears on his neck, we cut to the past when when Sanemi was speaking to Ubuyashiki, or at least Ubuyashiki was speaking to all of the Hashira. I keep turning around. I'm sorry. It makes me mad to see someone smiling. It makes me mad to see someone smiling when others are suffering. Someone who doesn't get their hands dirty and has no risk to his life is just issuing orders from above with an unconcerned look on his face. Well, aren't you something? Hey, Master Ubuyashiki. And seeing this must be their first interaction. This must be his first interaction with speaking to Ubuyashiki, because while everyone is knelt down in front of Ubuyashiki, Shinobu, Gyomei, and Uzui, he's standing up. And then Gyomei says, Shinazugawa, it appears you do not understand how to speak properly. And then Ubuyashiki says, it's all right, Gyomei. Let him speak. I do not mind. And then, no, this isn't Shinobu. This is Kanae saying, but master. It's all right, Kanae. See, I was right. I had to correct myself before he corrected me. You got no shame. You make me sick. You only think of core members as pawns to be used and tossed aside. You've barely even tried martial arts or anything else. I can tell just by looking at you. But you're the head of the Demon Slayer Corps? It's pathetic! I had it with all of this! And then Ubuyashiki just merely looks at him, back when his disease hadn't completely ravaged his body. It still shows him with one portion of his eye still able to see, and he says, I'm sorry. And Sanemi just immediately stops, dumbfounded. And then Ubuyashiki continues. I tried swinging his sword, but it made my heart pound and I couldn't even do it 10 times. I would have been like you if I could have. I wanted to be a strong swordsman and protect others' lives with my own body. But it was impossible for me. I'm sorry to have to ask you to do such difficult things. I couldn't say anything to that, Sanemi thinks to himself. The look on my master's face made me think of my mother. Overflowing affection from him like parents show towards their own children, was gently caressing my cheek. If you are pawns, then I am a sacrificial piece too. And if a single piece like myself that moves the Demon Slayer Corps were to die, nothing would change. My replacement is already here. This is your first time at a gathering of the Hashira, so I think you must understand. I do not place myself higher than you or anything like that, but everyone just treats me that way. If that bothers you, you don't have to go along with it. Instead of worrying about that, defend the lives of others as a Hashira. That is my only request. I'm sorry to summon you so soon after Masachika's death. You were close like brothers, which must make it even harder. His name? Shinazukawa. Ever since and then Kanae starts speaking. Shinazukawa. Ever since Master Ubuyashiki became our leader, he has memorized all the names and backgrounds of core members who have died. And that's when it hits him. But even I can't remember the names of all the core members I have fought with who died. Saname. All the children of the Demon Slayer Corps write their own will. Strangely, the contents of those wills are mostly similar. Masachika's was the same. I have been thinking about giving it to you. Masachika thought of you like the younger brother he lost. He dreamed of a shining future, just like my dream. A wish for loved ones to smile, to live happily until the day they die, and to never have their lives cruelly threatened, even if you can't be by their side. And in this panel, it shows Genya when he was younger. We want them to live. We want them to survive. And in this moment, right when Masachika's sword was preparing to cut down Sanami, it's blocked by a sawed-off shotgun. And he looks, and Sanami manages to fire, and it's not Genya who has a shotgun, it's Sanami who has the sawed-off shotgun of his younger brother, and he fires it. But Masachika blocks the bullets with his sword. I didn't even scratch him! And then more slashes get prepared to be launched by Masachika. Masachika. I've been calling him Masachika this whole time because I was so used to it. It's Michikatsu, even though that was his human name. Michikatsu blocks the bullets shot by Sanami as because I got so confused. I kept saying Masachika, 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 but it's Michikatsu. After Michikatsu prepares to cut down Sanami, Sanami blocks it with the sawed-off shotgun from Genya, and Sanami shoots at Michikatsu. But Michikatsu blocks all of these shots and prepares to launch another attack. There, I corrected it. It's not Masachika, it's Michikatsu, even though that was his human name. I forgot his demon name now. It was Coke something. It started with a K. Moon breathing. Third form. Loathsome moon. Chains. And there's multiple slashes where Sanami was, but Sanami is gone. And in his place is Gyomei. The Demon Slayer Corps will never disappear until we eradicate all demons from this world. One appears after the other, unexpectedly. And that is the end of chapter 168. Onwards to chapter 169, the final chapter of this volume. Chapter 169, Rumbling. I took a moment to look up his name real quick. His name is Kokushibo. How did I forget his name? I remember everyone's name, but then again, I only seen his name pop up once, and then a whole bunch of other names popped up, so it's obvious that it's Michikatsu Kokushibo. So, all those fights from up this time, his name is Kokushibo. I've just been saying his human name this whole time because I forgot his demon name. But, chapter 169, Rumbling, shows Gyomei standing there in place of Sanami, saying, Shinazugawa, stitch up your stomach wound right now. While you're doing that, I'll handle this guy. And then Sanami stands there stunned as he says, all right, thanks. And Gyomei is standing there with his mace and axe in hand, spinning it, standing there in front of Kokushibo. And Kokushibo, using his special eyes, looks into Gyomei, sees his muscles, his bones, everything, and thinks, "Wonderful. The perfect physical form developed to the utmost. How long has it been since I've set my eyes on such a great swordsman? Perhaps 300 years?" And then Gyomei's muscles clench as he spins his mace even faster. And apparently he's breathing in air. He's drawing in air. And then Gyomei continues to spin it. And then he throws his mace where Kokushibo is standing, but Koku dodges out of the way. Moon breathing. And as he says this, the axe side of his weapon, because remember, Gyomei's weapon is a long chain with a mace, a morning star at one end, and a broadhead axe head at the other. While he threw his morning star portion of his weapon, he caused the axe to bear down on where Kokushibo is. He could even throw his hand axe. Releasing weapons with both hands is. As he's saying this, he tries to dodge out of the way of the axe and thinks, "Moon." And then all of a sudden, Gyomei stomps on one end of his chain with his with this move called Stone Breathing, second form, upper smash, and causes the Morning Star to aim towards Kokushibo. Kokushibo dodges out of the way just in time, but then chains start to loop around his head as he uses his sword to keep the chain from strangling him. But, apparently he tried to cut the chain, but the chains themselves don't break. "I can't cut this chain. I can't cut this chain." And then I guess he dips and he moves out of the way so that the chain doesn't, press it too much further, and a lock of his hair gets caught up in the chains themselves. "The purity of all the iron in the chain, axe and ball of this weapon is extremely high. This katana created from my flesh would be destroyed before I could cut that weapon. Iron that has absorbed that much sunlight hadn't even been discovered in the Sengoku period when swordsmithing was at its peak. Nonetheless, I just have to get inside its reach." And it shows Gyomei having his weapons thrown away from him as Kokushibo bears down on him. And as he attempts to hit Gyomei with one of his attacks, Gyomei is above him, having dodged it, looping his chain around in ways that could cause either his axe to hit him or his Morning Star to hit him in swift motions. Every time Kokushibo tries to hit Gyomei, Gyomei keeps dodging it and moving his weapons in a way that would cause Kokushibo to dodge. "He's heavily built and has the strength to wield this weapon like an extension of his own body, with so much lightness and agility. It's unbelievable." And as he tries to prepare his sword for another strike, the chains loop around his sword again. He notices, gears up another attack, but it doesn't do too much due to Gyomei's chains shattering his sword. But still, Kokushibo presses on and uses moon breathing. Moon breathing, second form. And Gyomei prepares his Stone Breathing, fourth form, Volcanic Rock, Rapid Conquest, Pearl Flower Moon Gazing. And in a beautiful double-sided panel, they both use techniques that deflect one another, but doesn't exactly cause damage. And then it shows that his sword has regenerated. It even regenerates right away. When broken, attacks are pointless. Pathetic human. And here it shows that even though they attacked one another, Gyomei was the only one to walk away, the only one to come out of it with an actual scar, with a cut going across his face. "I wanted to save this for Muzan, but if I lose now, I'll have gained nothing. I'll have to use it now. And then it shows crack marks coming up across his arms. And that is the end of chapter 169, and that spells the end of volume 19 of Demon Slayer. So things are really getting interesting. But I've kept you far too long than I have already. Apologies for the grammatical and speech errors here and there, but that was yet another fantastic reading of Demon Slayer. We still have Upper Rank 1, and we have Upper Rank 4. Iguro and Mitsuri are facing off against Upper Rank 4, while Sanami, Genya, and Gyome are there with the Upper Rank 1, with Gyome being the only one capable of fighting him currently in this state right now, with full strength. And apparently he's going to be using some kind of technique, but I'm looking forward to it. So with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.